What's up, y'all? Today we are going to talk about grinds. Let's talk about grind assist first. We'll jump right into it. So open your settings, go to gameplay, and go over to assists, and right under difficulty options, you'll see grind assist amount as your first option. This is basically going to add or take away magnetism from your grinds. So if you pop near a rail with your grind assist at 0 like this, you will not get sucked onto the rail. You can ollie all you want, just like right at the rail, and you won't get sucked onto it. If you turn your grind assist up to, let's say like 80, if you ollie near a rail with your grind assist there, you get pulled onto it. So that's the basic idea of grind assist. I won't say that you should play at 0. That's where I like to play. I do see people say that 0 feels like it kind of either doesn't find the grind that it needs to lock into, or it almost pushes you away. I do experience that occasionally, but I like the challenge of it. You know, I've seen people at 15 or 20. If you're playing realistic, it's okay to push that up a little bit just to get the consistency down. I probably should have it on for this video so my grinds are a little easier, but I'm gonna keep it at 0. So just play with that. The next thing I wanna talk about is the different ways that you can get into a grind. We're gonna use backside tail slides as an example here. The first way I'll show you is with body positioning. So just using the left stick to get into a tail slide like that. You can just position your body and time your ollie and your angle and just use your left stick. That's the way I kind of did it in Skate 1, 2, and 3. So the other way is to use the right stick. So just push the right stick to the right and you'll lock into a tail slide. You have to get your positioning right for this one. But yeah, those are kind of the two classic ways that you could get into tail slides in the past games. This skate has a new way to get into grinds. So we're gonna open Skatepedia. You just get to it from your start menu. We're gonna go over to grinds and scroll all the way down to backside tail slide. What you'll see is down here on the bottom left, it says to do a backside tail slide, you're gonna hold the right stick down and then scoop to the left. So that's the complete opposite way I just did it with the right stick, where I pushed it to the right. So hold down and then scoop to the left if you're in regular stance. So let's try that. So I'll pop down and to the left and pop out. I find this to be way easier and way more consistent to get into grinds. I don't use it 100% of the time. It just depends on what I'm using it for. But I highly suggest that you practice all of these, because you have to learn these inputs for transition grinds and slappies. I have 2 videos. I have one on transition grinds and one on slappies. Go watch those to get a more in-depth look into how to do that. But I'll show you real quick. If I'm gonna do a backside tail slide on transition, I pull down on the left stick and then do that input. And I'll do a backside tail slide. If I'm gonna do a backside tail slide slappy, I won't pull down on the left stick, but I'll just do that motion that we saw in Skatepedia. And those slappies are kind of broken right now. You don't get into a tail slide every single time when you do this input. It gets into a salad a lot of times, but you know, hopefully they fix those. But that would be the input for a backside tail slide. So learn these, get into Skatepedia and learn them. You know, if you're gonna do like a backside nose slide, you pull up and scoop left and you get into a nose slide. This really starts to feel intuitive once you wrap your head around how, you know, the motions work and stuff with it. So learn these. The next thing I want to talk about is exiting grinds. So there's a couple of ways. I get into a 50-50, I can pull the left stick to the right and it's going to just do a little popless exit. I can also pull the left stick to the left here and I will exit on the other side of the rail. So that's a really good way to do like a popover without actually popping. You can also use the B button to do the same thing. It's just more difficult to choose a side to exit when you're using B, but if I know I want to exit the same side that I got onto the rail on, I'll use B most of the time. The other way to exit grinds is by popping. So if I just do an ollie, a lot of times I'll pop higher than I want and I'll also land back onto the rail. So a lot of times what I do is use a directional ollie. And this is where when you ollie, you flick up to the left diagonally or up to the right diagonally. You see how my character shifts from side to side there? On a rail, let's say I want to pop over with a Smith. just do a little directional ollie to shift my weight to that side. The next thing I want to talk about is leaning on grinds. So you can like pinch a crooked grind like that, put your weight into it. So here, slowed down, you can see I shifted my weight there at the end. So you just hold the left stick diagonally to the left or diagonally to the right to get that weight shifted. So if you hold left or right, like at 90 degrees, you just pop out of the grind. So you have to do this diagonally to really shift your weight around on grinds like that. So that's another tip. I made a whole video on popless grinds or late pop, no pop, out of grinds. This is a mechanic where you press B to get out of the grind and then pop a trick at the very last second. And you'll do the trick, but you won't actually pop off the rail at all. So I'll show you one real quick. Oh, that was so close. That one was sick because it was so pinched. So there was a popless grind. Popless flip out, I guess, out of the grind. Just go check out my video on those, and it's a pretty in-depth look into how to do it. Again, the basic is you press B and then you pop late if you want to just try it without my guidance, but check out the video. My last tip is going to be double grinds. So here's an exaggerated example, but if you just spin the right stick around, you'll get the idea of how double grinds work. So basically you turn the right stick to shift yourself into a new grind. You can do things like a crook to switch salad, which always looks fun. You know, to really make these look snappy though, you have to kind of preload your shift into the grind. There's a little bit of a delay, so pretty much right as I hit the rail, I'm starting to turn that right stick, and then it kind of times it in a way that looks a little snappier. So just keep that in mind. The other way to do double grinds, I get asked a whole lot how I do this back tail to smith on the other side of this rail. It's been really tough for me to explain this. So I don't find that I have to get into the tail any particular specific way. Let's use the Skatepedia way. So once you're into the tail, just pop over with the left stick and point your right stick down to get into that smith. And then you can use B or the left stick to get out of that grind. Anyways, that about covers it, y'all. I hope that gave you some insight into grinds and the various ways you can get into and out of grinds, and the importance of looking into Skatepedia and learning those inputs. If you want to do transition grinds or you want to do slappies, you have to learn those. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.